March Inventory Madness has put Lady Luck on your side. Premier Heating and Air has a huge limited inventory offer on new heating and air units until they're gone. Don't wait. Find Lucky in your mailbox or online at premierishere.com. The choice is clear. Experience Premier.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're out with Dr. Andy Bozeman. We want to talk about lawnmower safety now. It's that time of year. Weeds are growing, grass is starting to grow, and
won't be long.
Yeah, somebody's got to do the work.
That's right. Yeah, it's that time of year, right? And we're here to talk about lawnmower safety. It's a fairly large yard here. We've all got our lawns that need maintaining. Some of us do that with push mowers, and then there's various styles of riding mowers too. So we want to make sure that we're doing that safely and the kids are protected.
Yeah, so growing up, we always were warned about things that would propel out the side. That's predominantly, right. Not to be close to anything, not to run over anything, that type of thing. But it's a new ball game these days.
It is. You know, behind us here is what you call a zero turn radius mower, and it can go very quickly, much faster than the old, snapper, Forrest Gump edition, right? This thing will go 15 miles an hour or so, and so it's a different lawnmower. It's capable of covering a lot more terrain. It's very loud at times, and so we want to make sure that we're exercising appropriate safety, because the game has changed a little bit when it comes to mowing your lawn.
It sure has. Now I see some people that'll put their kid on here with them. What do you say about that?
In general, that's very dangerous, right? We have some guidelines for when's the appropriate time to have your children learn to cut the grass, right? And in general, before they use a push mower, they need to be 12 years of age, and before they use a riding lawnmower, 16 years of age. So they might not have developed up prior to that, physically, also kind of the appropriate kind of maturity to do those things. So those are some general guidelines.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we look at the safety of operating one of these. If you're out on a wide open space and you're turning around on a dime running along at 10, 12 miles an hour on one of these things, you need to know what's going on around you.
Well, that's right. There's no steering wheel. You don't have to have a wide radius where you can kind of see what's going on. With the handlebar controls on the zero turn radius mowers, you can turn really on a dime, and so you can even reverse the direction and go back just almost as easy as you can just go forward. And so I've seen instances where children were injured, terribly so, by zero turn radius, where the operator had put the mower in reverse and there's a toddler behind him, and you can only imagine that's a terrible accident. So that's why we're here today. We don't want that to ever happen in Lawrence County. So,
So there's some rules you should follow. You say the age, but of course awareness.
Yeah, absolutely. The awareness is important. It's machinery, right? So there's spinning blades, there's a discharge, projectiles potentially. We want to protect, if your child is old enough to do that, they should always have goggles on, preferably long pants, long sleeves. That's sometimes hard in the summer, but we want to protect our extremities, right?
Yes.
And then ear protection as well.
Okay.
So there's a lot of things to consider.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you look at the ear protection. A lot of people overlook that, and eye protection. A lot of people just, they get on, they may have on a long sleeve or probably not, but you think about that loud roaring and how tender a young person's ears you're still developing.
They've got a lifetime, of potential, threats to their hearing, so we want to minimize that. So absolutely important to have hearing protection and goggles there. This time of year you'd be throwing pollen everywhere, but who's to say there's not a stick or a piece of gravel or something that could be launched by the mower.
Yeah. And so when you look at a young person and the age that they should start operating it, and you look at, a training course, you should probably follow some type of training guidelines before letting them operate it, right?
I think it's like anything else. There's an incremental approach to doing things, right, that require more skill. You don't just say, hey, I need you to cut the front yard, here's the lawnmower. You want to help them with that, right? And maybe have a short course that you do a little bit, and let's give you some guidance on that. So I think there is kind of an incremental learning process that we should institute.
You say you've seen some injuries, mostly from young people, from children being around while an adult's operating, huh?
Yes, I've seen injuries from things being thrown from the lawnmower that would, project into the skin. I've seen those things, what we call foreign bodies. But I've also seen some terrible kind of soft tissue injuries from, the lawnmower injury itself, from the blades, which is terrible. those have had good outcomes, but we're here today to make sure that we avoid those type things.
Absolutely, yeah. Thank you for what you're talking about, Doctor, and for what you do for our community. You're always available, through Fairview Park, and so when that time happens, if it does, and we hope it doesn't, Dr. Andy Bozeman is always available for you at Fairview Park Hospital. But I know you say an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, for sure.
Exactly right. We're here to serve the community, but we certainly want to minimize any trauma that we see, but certainly today to talk about lawnmower safety. It's an avoidable injury pattern, and so we're here to make sure that we don't see that this summer.
Yeah,
So.
stay safe.